חלום של האבות, בית אל, כל התורה עולה בישיבות, בית אל, שחוק ילדים צוהל ברחובות, בית אל, אתה היא לבבות.
As we came to Bet El about 30 years ago, in the year 1977, the first question that we asked ourselves was, where is the site of the dream of Jacob? We came to Bet El not because of the nice landscape, which is of course nice, because of the fresh air, which is of course fresh, but because here in Bet El, this was the beginning of the Jewish people. The first promise to Yaakov Avinu, to Jacob, was given here in this site. So we were very interested in locating exactly the site of the dream. Of course, we didn't know. We walked around and found many rocks and many places that looked like the place, but we did not know exactly. One of the first guests in Bet El, 30 years ago, was a professor, a famous professor, researcher of the land called Professor Ze'ev Vilnai. He was our guest, and when he came to Bet El, we asked him whether he knows something about the site. And he took us to this place and told us his story. He came to this place before the War of Independence. Later, he came back after the Six-Day War, because he also was interested in the question, where is the site of the dream of Jacob, of Yaakov Avinu? He was not satisfied with the site that Albright identified south to the village of Bitin. There is nothing there except for some remnants of an ancient Roman Byzantine house. Nothing else. He thought that it was a church, but now we know that there is no church there. So Professor Vilnai was not satisfied with that identification, with that location. So he looked around. The first thing he did was to ask the local people, the Arab, the people of the village of Bitin, whether there was any holy place, in Arabic, Makkah Muqaddas, here in this area of the village, and they brought him to this site. He saw this place and was shocked. He immediately identified an ancient Muslim holy place. It's called in Arabic Makam, which is a place of prayer, usually located in places in which there is a tradition about something that happened here, something holy, something sacred that happened here. So here he found an ancient Muslim Makam, holy place, place of prayer, and next to it, connected to it, an ancient Christian chapel from the time of the Crusaders. They probably continued the tradition of the Arabs. And one of the proofs that this is really an ancient tradition from the time, the beginning of the Islamic era, about 1,300 years ago, one of the proofs is this tree. This is an oak tree, more than 1,000 years old. Around it we can see other oak trees which are also very old. Why this oak tree was preserved? All the oak trees in the land of Israel were cut by the population in order to use the trees for building, for heating, right, for the trains, right, for the Turkish trains. The oaks, the old oaks were preserved in holy places. So this is another indication that the a Muslim and Christian tradition here is not new, but really old, more than 1,000 years old. Next to this place of prayer, he found a big rock. When Yaakov Avinu slept outside of the city of Bethel, the area was covered by trees, by forest of oak trees, like this oak tree. And in order to be protected from the animals, he had to lie on a big rock. So here we have a big rock, natural rock, that existed in the time of Yaakov Avinu, almost 4,000 years ago. But Professor Vilnai wanted an indication that there is also a Jewish tradition in this site. And he found it. He found many caves in the rock which were used for burial. More than 100 caves in which, from the time of the Second Temple, used by Jews for burial. This is one of the sites in the land of Israel in which there is a concentration of graves from the time of the Second Temple. Why Jews came to this place to be buried here? Like in Jerusalem, Mount of Olives, many Jews came there because of the holiness of Jerusalem, came to be buried there. They also came to be buried in this place because there was a tradition that this is an holy site. What is holy in the area of Bethel? The dream of Jacob. So we have here Jewish tradition, which is expressed in the burial caves from the time of the Second Temple. Some of them are even from the time of the First Temple. And the Muslim and Christian traditions that continued the Jewish tradition. All these traditions are located around this rock. Probably this is the rock which was identified by Jews and later by Muslims and Christians as the rock on which Jacob had his dream. Now, Professor Vilnai came with another idea. He wanted also even a stronger proof, indication, more than the tradition. And he came with a very interesting idea. He reminded us that Bethel is famous in the history of the Jewish people not only because the dream of Jacob, but later, many centuries later, King Jeroboam built his temple here with the golden calf. He was separated from Jerusalem. He took with him from Jerusalem, he took 10 tribes and located the central temple of his kingdom here in Bethel. Built an altar, and on the altar he put a golden calf, the famous golden calf of Bethel. Now Vilnai asked himself, why did Jeroboam, King Jeroboam, build his temple right here? Why not in Shiloh? Why not in Shechem, in Nablus? And his answer was very simple. Because of the dream of Jacob. If we open the Bible, the book of Genesis, chapter 28, we can read that after Jacob woke up from his dream, he understood that this is a holy place. The Bible says the following: "And Yaakov awoke out of his sleep, and he said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is no other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven." So according to the Bible, on the basis of the dream of Jacob, this is the gate to heaven. So this is the place to build a temple. So probably King Jeroboam, when he left Jerusalem and wanted to take with him most of the nation, he had a strong basis. He had to find a strong basis. And his strong basis was, we are coming back to the place where Jacob had his dream, and the place which Jacob himself defined as the house of the Lord and the gate to heaven. This is, by the way, probably the reason why he succeeded to take with him 10 tribes. Most of the people came with King Jeroboam and did not go after King Rehoboam to Jerusalem. So, if we want to find a decisive and overwhelming proof that this is the site of the dream, we must find remnants of the temple of King Jeroboam. And this is exactly what he did, and this is exactly what he showed us. He took us to walk around this site and to find with him the remnants of the temple of King Jeroboam. So let us walk in this site. We know already that there is something in this site based on Jewish, Christian, and Muslim traditions. But let us try to find the archaeological remnants of the temple of King Jeroboam. Come with me.